this is one of the arguments I made early on with leftists right before I stopped ignoring them. If you want to make a change, you've got to shatter the social racial hierarchy, right? That happens with reparations. It is completely and utterly shattered. But if you don't want to do that, that means you're not trying to improve my life. You want me to, and one of the phrases I use is, you want us to have a more comfortable bottom space in this social racial hierarchy, right? You want us to have just be a more comfortable bottom. No, fuck you. We've earned our space here. We've earned our stripes. We've done everything we're supposed to do over and over again, and we got fucked over. But you want to change the country without fixing us, and you want to start from scratch. Like everybody got problems because of capitalism. Now we're gonna fix everybody. Fuck your reparations. That's what I hear when I hear that.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine, like, we were talking about a little bit before we started about revolution. Like, what is revolution? Could you imagine how revolutionary it would be if white working class people and black working class people got together and actually started fighting for racial justice for black people in this country? Could you imagine how different that would change the society? I'm sure you probably can imagine that. You probably have imagined that.
Yeah, I can
But I
imagine
mean,
it. The problem is it's never on our terms. That's the problem, right? Every time we
well,
try to unite, it's never on our terms. It's supposed to
yeah,
be we're gonna
right.
we're gonna
You're
fix
right.
the world, but it's got to be the white
Yeah,
folks way, and
you're
we
right.
just hopefully get a disproportionate piece of it,
But
right?
I want to say that I
Hmm.
maybe I'm a little bit optimistic on this, that
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
among white people, at least some white people, maybe not all
Hmm.
white people, some
Hmm.
white people, there is a sort of change of attitude. Like, if we're going to have these kind of conversations with people who were not, because the socialist movement is a white movement in this country,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
even
it's
Mr. Lighty admitted that.
yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, you just have to look at the numbers to find
Hmm.
out that when you go to the Socialist Party, which is a party I'm affiliated with loosely now. I used to be more affiliated with them, but to go to the convention and see there's like two black people in the room and
Hmm.
there's like 60 white people. And I don't know how that group of people can actually talk about racial justice, but not including black voices in that. But I think there's a more of a movement among socialists, at least, maybe not progressives. Maybe they just pay lip service to it,
Hmm.
to actually include, the solutions that are not solutions that we come up with, but the solutions that the different communities who we're working with, supposedly working with, have come up with for themselves. Because I know, logistics and reality being one thing, the idea in the Socialist Party is the only way that groups that are oppressed can be liberated is by themselves. They're liberated by themselves. They
Hmm.
don't need a white savior to ride in and fix things, because we're just going to screw shit up. And for me to go and tell you this is what you need and here's what we're going to do for you, that doesn't make any sense, because that doesn't affect your life, or that doesn't talk about your own lived experience at all. It talks about my lived experience. This is what I think that you should need. This is what I think you should do. And so
Hmm.
I think that there are at least some people on the left, maybe the far left, who actually have a different idea about the role that white people can play in not necessarily assisting, but supporting or doing whatever we possibly can to move out the roadblocks in
Hmm.
y'all's way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I think a part of it is, and to give white folks a little bit of space here, America has conditioned, and violently so, white people and all other groups actually to stay away from helping us. Right. Many white folks who were abolitionists, were killed, were threatened, were maimed, and their businesses destroyed. All kinds of stuff has happened, and that's the way America functions, right? But we've got to move away from that, right? We've got to break that wall, and I've written about it before. The quickest way to become a pariah is to fight for us. It really is, right? And that should tell you something. Like they say, if you find out the way you find out who's in power is who you can't the people that you can't criticize, right? And it's the other way around for us. If you want to find out who's on the bottom, try to help them, and you'll quickly find out who's on the bottom, right? So I think that conditioning is real, but this is a new age. We've got to get away from that,
Yeah.
all right? And some of it just gives people an excuse not to help because they don't give a fuck or they simply don't like us,
Yeah.
right? But the other side of
Well,
that, you got to be prepared to get in this fight.
Yeah, and the one thing that white people can do, and this is one thing I know that we can do because we're responsible for most of the roadblocks that are being put in you guys' path, is we can actually work amongst ourselves to actually stop other white people from doing that, and to clear out some of the roadblocks. That way, if you guys are coming forward, you guys are coming forward on your own power, on your own terms. You guys are doing whatever you need, but we just need to stop stopping you.
Yeah,
and
road grade. Yeah, be a road grader. Yeah,
yeah, right. That's what I see for white people who are concerned about racial justice and who are concerned about even moving the society forward in terms of equality or anything like that. That's one thing that we can do is we can stop stopping you. And for some reason, I don't understand why, but there are so many people who are so invested in putting roadblocks in the path, and you can say white supremacy. That's probably what it is, but whatever the reason, there are people that are really invested in doing that. And so it's my job as a white person, as a white revolutionary, to stop those people, because that's something I can actually do,
Yeah, I appreciate that. Because
listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redline and lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one, cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire, anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country to win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we're coming to get our check.